I'm 62 years old, and I never imagined that the most painful betrayal of my life would come from my own children. My daughter sent a message that read, "Don't you dare come here for Christmas. We don't want to see you." My son didn't even bother to reply. I wrote back just one word, "Okay." Then I canceled every single bank transfer. By the next morning, both of them were standing on my doorstep. Let me tell you how it came to that. For most of my adult life, I believed being a good parent meant giving until there was nothing left. I lived by that belief for more than 3 decades. My name is Richard Hale, and after my wife Ellen passed away 7 years ago, my entire world became my 2 children, Laura and Kevin. Ellen left behind a modest but stable life for me. A paid-off house in a quiet Ohio suburb, a pension, and some savings we'd built carefully over the years. I wasn't rich, but I was secure, and I made sure my children were secure too, or at least, I thought I was helping them. Laura was 35, married to a man named Chris who never seemed to hold a job for long. They had 2 kids, Noah and Lily, my grandchildren, the lights of my life. Every month without fail, I sent Laura $1,600. There was always a reason: medical bills, school activities, car repairs. "Just until next month, Dad," she'd say. Kevin was 32, single, working in IT support. He received $1,200 every month. Rent went up, student loans, his car needed work again. There was always something urgent, something temporary that somehow never ended. On top of that came the extras: expensive birthdays, Christmas gifts I couldn't really afford, emergencies that were never repaid. When Laura's fridge broke, I bought a new one. When Kevin's computer crashed, I replaced it the same week. I told myself this was love, this was what fathers did. But over time, something changed. The phone calls became short, mechanical. "Did you send the money?" replaced "How are you doing?" The words "love you" started to feel like punctuation marks at the end of financial requests. Obligations, not feelings. Thanksgiving was the first warning sign. Laura barely spoke to me, glued to her phone. Kevin arrived late and left early. Neither asked how I was handling the empty house. Neither asked about my aching joints or the nights that felt longer without Ellen. I swallowed the hurt and told myself they were busy, that this was normal. Then December came. I mentioned carefully that I'd love to spend Christmas together. Maybe I could come help cook, watch the kids open presents, or they could come to my place. I'd make Ellen's old recipes, set the table the way she used to. Laura replied by text, not a call, a text. "Don't you dare come here for Christmas. We don't want to see you. We need space. You're always so needy. Don't call, don't text, just leave us alone." I read it again and again, convinced I must have misunderstood. Needy, demanding. For wanting to see my own children. I waited for Kevin to say something, anything. Surely he'd seen the message. Hours passed, then a full day. Nothing. That silence hurt almost more than Laura's words. It felt like agreement. Like abandonment. That night I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling on my side of the bed, Ellen's side untouched for 7 years now, and wondered how I'd raised children who could cut me off so easily. The next morning I sat at the kitchen table with my coffee and opened my bank account. I looked at the automatic transfers I'd set up years ago, month after month, year after year, and something inside me snapped. Not in anger, but in clarity. I canceled every payment, every single one. Then I replied to Laura's message with one word, "Okay." After I sent it, my hands shook, my heart pounded, but then something unexpected happened. A strange calm settled in. I started looking back, years back. I pulled statements and built a spreadsheet the way Ellen and I used to. The numbers made my stomach turn. In just 5 years, I had given Laura over $95,000 in monthly payments. Kevin had received more than $70,000, and that didn't include emergencies or gifts. I added those too: car repairs, dental work, security deposits, flights, phones, computers, toys for the kids that cost more than my first car. When I totaled it all, I had to check the number 3 times: $185,000. Nearly everything Ellen and I had saved for my old age. And what had it bought me? A text telling me not to come for Christmas. The phone rang. It was Laura. "Dad," she said sharply, "I see you canceled the transfers." No apology. No regret, just the money. "Yes," I said. "Well, you need to fix that. The mortgage is due." The mortgage on the house I'd helped them buy. The down payment I'd already covered years earlier. "No," I said. Silence. "You're punishing us," she snapped. "We have kids." "So do I," I replied quietly. "I have bills too." "You're fine," she said. "You have pensions and savings." Was I fine? With rising medical costs, property taxes, and a small loan I'd taken out to help her once again. "I need to go," I said and hung up. For the first time in weeks, the house was silent, and in that silence, I finally thought clearly. I wasn't going to act out of guilt anymore. I needed a plan. I needed protection. I needed to see who my children really were when the money stopped. That night, I researched financial exploitation of seniors. I documented everything. I found the number of Ellen's old attorney. I opened a new bank account they knew nothing about. By the time I went to bed, exhausted but calm, I realized something important. For the first time in years, I wasn't worrying about them. I was finally thinking about myself. My name is Richard Hale, and I'm 62 years old. 3 days after I canceled the payments, I found myself sitting in a quiet law office across from a man named Samuel Brooks. Samuel stood up slowly and extended his hand. He was around 70, semi-retired with silver hair and eyes that still missed nothing. "Richard," he said calmly, "I'm sorry to hear about your situation. Please sit down." I had called him in a panic, not really knowing what I needed, only knowing I couldn't keep living the way I was. He fit me in immediately. Now, seated across from him, I laid everything out on his desk. The spreadsheet I'd made late at night, printed bank statements, screenshots of text messages, a timeline showing every request for money, every transfer, every so-called emergency. Samuel put on his reading glasses and began flipping through the pages in silence. With every document, his expression hardened. Finally, he exhaled and looked up at me. "Richard," he said, tapping the papers, "do you realize this adds up to over $73,000 in just 5 years?" I nodded. My throat felt tight. This qualifies as financial exploitation of an elderly person under Ohio law. The word elderly hit me harder than I expected. I wanted to argue. I didn't feel elderly, but I swallowed it. "I gave it willingly," I said. "Nobody forced me." Samuel nodded slowly. "Willingly doesn't mean freely," he replied. "Not when emotional manipulation and undue influence are involved." He tapped the printed Christmas message my daughter had sent. This kind of verbal abuse combined with ongoing financial dependence creates a clear pattern. He leaned back in his chair. "How old are you again?" 62. "And your health?" "Arthritis, high blood pressure, anxiety since my wife Ellen passed." He wrote everything down carefully. "I'm going to be direct with you, Richard," he said. "If you want to protect what you have left, we need to act now. Your children see you as vulnerable whether they admit it or not, and they're counting on that." That sentence hurt more than anything else. "What do we do?" I asked. "First," he said, "your will. Right now, everything goes to them equally, correct?" I nodded. "We changed that. You can make your estate conditional on behavior, move assets into a trust, or redirect part of it elsewhere. Charity if you choose. You decide," he continued. "Second, you document every interaction from this moment forward. Calls, texts, visits, dates, times, what was said. Third, I recommend assigning financial power of attorney to someone neutral. Not your children, someone who can step in if you become incapacitated. And fourth," he said gently, "if this escalates into harassment or threats, we file for a protection order." "A protection order?" I whispered. "Against my own kids, I know," he said softly. "But I've seen this pattern many times. Adult children who see their parents as a source of income. It rarely improves without firm boundaries." 2 hours later, I walked out with a thick folder under my arm and hands that wouldn't stop shaking. That evening, as I stood in my kitchen making a simple dinner, my phone buzzed. A message from my son, Kevin, his first direct message since Christmas. "Dad, what's going on? Laura says you're acting crazy. I need the money for rent." "It's due tomorrow." I stared at the screen. Not "are you okay?" Not "I'm sorry I didn't defend you." Just "the money." I typed back slowly. "I've made some financial changes. You'll need to budget differently going forward." His reply came instantly. "Are you kidding me? I'll be evicted. Is this because of what Laura said? She was just stressed. You know how she is. You know how she is." Another message followed. "I'm coming over tomorrow. We need to talk." Then Laura texted, "Kevin told me you're cutting him off too. What is wrong with you? Where are your priorities?" I didn't respond. Instead, I did something I'd never done before. I went into my bedroom closet and pulled out an old box filled with cards and letters from my children. I sat on the edge of the bed and started reading them, one by one. The early ones broke my heart. Crayon drawings. Misspelled words, "best dad ever." Memories of fishing trips and movie nights. Then somewhere in their mid-20s, the tone changed. "Thanks for everything you do. Hope you have a great day." Polite, distant, empty. In the last 3 years, there were barely any cards at all. Laura sent digital cards, free ones. Kevin sometimes forgot entirely and sent a late text the next day. One card from 2 years ago stood out. I had saved it because it felt meaningful at the time. Dad, you're always there when we need you. Your generosity knows no bounds. We love you so much. Reading it now, I saw it clearly. Always there when we need you. Not we're here for you, not let us take care of you. I photographed the card and added it to a folder on my phone labeled evidence. That night I barely slept because I knew tomorrow would be the real test. At 11 the next morning, Kevin's car pulled into my driveway. The Honda Civic I'd helped him buy 3 years earlier with a loan that was never repaid. He knocked hard. I took a breath and opened the door. Dad, he said flatly. No smile, just irritation. We need to talk. He walked straight into the living room. Seconds later, Laura's SUV pulled in behind him. My stomach sank. She climbed out, face set, while her husband stayed in the car with the kids. My grandchildren, they'd brought them as leverage. Laura walked in without knocking. Sit down, Dad, she said. This is my house, I replied calmly. I'll stand if I want to, Kevin sighed. This stops today. You can't just cut us off. I gave you warning, I said. You told me not to come for Christmas. You told me you didn't want to see me. I respected that. That was about Christmas, Laura snapped. Not money. When was the last time you called just to ask how I was? I asked quietly. She blinked. We talk all the time. When? Kevin stepped in. Dad, I'm about to be evicted. You make $60,000 a year, I said. Your rent is $900 a month. Where's your money going? That's none of your business. It became my business when you made me responsible for it. Laura's tone sharpened. You're our father. You're supposed to help us. Help, I said. Yes, enable. No, she scoffed, then suddenly started crying. I'm sorry, I was stressed. The kids need things. Are you really going to punish them? The guilt rose up, familiar and powerful. Then I remembered the number, $173,000, and for the first time I didn't back down. I remembered the message she sent me at Christmas. I remembered the silence that followed. I remembered how quickly love disappeared when the money stopped. No, I said firmly. No. Their faces changed instantly. The tears vanished. The concern hardened into something cold. No, I won't be resuming payments, I continued. You're adults. You need to manage your own lives. My son's jaw tightened. You're really doing this? I am. He turned toward the door. Don't come crying to us when you're old and sick and need someone to take care of you. The threat hung in the air, sharp and deliberate. My daughter grabbed her purse. You're going to regret this, she said. Family is supposed to stick together. She paused at the door just long enough to twist the knife. And don't expect to see your grandchildren anymore. They left. I stood alone in my living room, shaking. The silence was deafening. The threat about the grandchildren hit harder than anything else. They were innocent. They hadn't done anything wrong. I sat down and cried, deep, uncontrollable sobs I'd been holding in for years. When I finally caught my breath, I wiped my face and called my attorney, Samuel Brooks, and reported every word they'd said. Document everything, he told me calmly. You're doing the right thing. Even when it doesn't feel like it. For the next 3 days, I followed his advice. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes. I watched old movies. I cooked meals just for myself. I grieved. I grieved for the children I thought I'd raised. I grieved for the relationship I believed we had. I grieved for the illusions I'd lived under for decades. And slowly, something unexpected crept in. Relief. On the 4th day, my sister Claire called. Rich, she said, using my childhood nickname. I talked to your daughter this morning. I closed my eyes. Of course she had. She says you've had some kind of breakdown and cut them off financially. She's worried about you. So am I. I haven't had a breakdown, I said quietly. I've had a realization. She says you won't even see the grandkids. She's the one who said I couldn't, I replied. I wanted to spend Christmas with them. She told me not to come. When I stopped sending money, suddenly, I became the villain. There was silence on the line. How much were you sending them? Claire asked finally. Thousands every month for years. Her voice changed. Oh, Rich. Why didn't you tell me? I thought I was being a good father, I said. Now I'm trying to be a healthy man. We talked for over an hour. Claire, widowed herself, understood loneliness. She also understood manipulation. Her own son had tried similar tactics before she set boundaries. It's going to hurt, she warned me. They'll try everything, guilt, lies, using the kids. If you give in now, it'll only get worse. She was right. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was my granddaughter Lily. She was 10. Grandpa, her small voice tightened my chest. Why are you mad at us? I'm not mad at you, sweetheart, I said softly. Mommy says you don't want to see us anymore. She's been crying. The manipulation took my breath away. I wanted to see you, I said carefully. Mommy told me not to come. She says you're being mean about money. Did Mommy tell you to call me? I asked gently. A pause. She's right here. She wants to talk. My daughter took the phone. Do you hear what you're doing? She snapped. You're confusing her. She thinks you don't love her. I took a deep breath. Don't use your child to manipulate me. It's not fair to her. How dare you, she said. I'm trying to help her understand why our family is falling apart. Our family isn't falling apart because I set boundaries, I said. Think about that. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I didn't cave. I called Samuel again. They're using the grandchildren now. Expected, he said. Don't engage. We document everything. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to a support group at the community center, a place my late wife and I used to visit. Widows and widowers sat in a circle, people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. When it was my turn, I spoke. My name is Richard. I'm 62. My wife passed away 7 years ago, and I'm having trouble with my adult children. What I heard stunned me. I wasn't alone. Stories poured out. Adult children draining savings, credit cards stolen, signatures forged, parents reduced to fear and guilt. The hardest part, said a woman named Elaine, is accepting that the children you raised aren't the adults they became. What did you do? I asked. I changed my will, she said calmly. Left everything to a scholarship fund. My daughter didn't speak to me for a year. Then she apologized, truly apologized. And if she hadn't, I asked. Elaine smiled sadly. Then I'd still have peace. Either way, I'd be free, free. The word stayed with me all the way home. The next morning I called Samuel. I want to change my will, I said. I want to trust. With conditions. He listened as I explained, and for the first time in weeks I smiled. They showed up Sunday morning without warning, both cars in the driveway, a united front. Dad, my daughter said softly, we've been thinking. We want to make things right. I studied her face. No tears, just strategy. Come in, I said. They sat across from me waiting, and this time I was ready. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened next. Because this was the moment I fully understood who my children had become. My son-in-law spoke first. Richard, I owe you an apology. I should have been managing our finances better. I shouldn't have let Laura rely on you so much. That's on me. Interesting. He was volunteering to take the blame, not to protect me, but to polish her image. Then my son leaned forward. Dad, I've been thinking too. I've been irresponsible with money. I see that now. I'm going to change. They sounded sincere, too sincere. For a brief second, I almost believed them. I appreciate you coming, I said calmly. What kind of changes? Well, my daughter said, glancing at her brother, we thought maybe we could work on a budget together. You and Mom were always good with money. You could help us learn. A budget, I repeated. Yeah, my son said quickly. Automatic savings, tracking expenses, stuff like that. And you think that would solve everything? Definitely, my daughter said. And about Christmas, I was wrong. I was stressed. I took it out on you. I'm sorry. We want you there. The kids miss you. I leaned back and studied them. They were good, very good, but something felt off. So you want to reconcile? I asked. Yes, she said immediately. We're family. And the money? I asked. Just a flicker crossed her face. Barely there, but I saw it. Well, we can't just change everything overnight, my son said. Maybe a transition period. There it was. How long? I asked. Maybe half the amount, he said. Just for 3 or 4 months until I find a cheaper place. And you? I asked my daughter. The same, she said quickly. Just until my husband's job situation stabilizes. He has interviews lined up. I stood up and walked to the window. In the glass, I saw a 62-year-old man who had almost been fooled again. No, I said quietly. Dad, she started. No, I said again. Not half, not reduced, nothing. But we just explained. You explained you want a few more months of money, I said, turning to face them. And then what? Another emergency. Another excuse, the mask cracked. So you're just abandoning us now? My daughter snapped. I'm not abandoning you, I said. I'm refusing to enable you. There's a difference. That's just word games, she said, standing up. You have money. You have Mom's insurance, your pension, this house. We're struggling. You're not struggling, I said calmly. You're mismanaging, and you've been using me as a safety net instead of learning responsibility. Her husband finally spoke up. This is unbelievable after everything we've done for you. What exactly have you done for me? I asked. He faltered. We visit you. We include you in the kids' lives. You mean you did before the money stopped, I said. And now you're using them as leverage. My son stood. We came here trying to fix this, Dad. You're being stubborn and selfish. Selfish, I said, for wanting enough money to pay my own bills. To not be afraid of getting old. You're only 62, my daughter snapped. You'll live another 30 years. You don't need all that money sitting there. And there it was, the truth. They weren't worried about survival. They were worried about their inheritance. Get out, I said quietly. What? Get out of my house. Her face turned red. Fine, but don't expect us to help you someday. Don't expect visits. Don't expect care when you're old and sick. I wouldn't dream of it, I said. You've made it clear our relationship depends on money. At the door, she played her final card. The kids will forget you. My daughter already asks why you don't love her anymore. Soon you'll just be some old man they barely remember. The words cut deep, but I stayed calm. If that happens, I said, then I'll know I raised children who taught their kids that love costs money. And that tells me everything. They left. I sat alone, heart racing, hands shaking. Every instinct told me to chase them, apologize, fix it, but I didn't. Instead, I texted my attorney. Meeting happened. It got worse. Proceeding with all legal changes. He replied almost instantly, good, proud of you. This is the hardest part. Christmas came and went. I spent it with my sister's family. It hurt more than I can describe, but I survived. Then 2 days after New Year's, my attorney called. Richard, I need you to come in today. Something in his voice made my stomach drop. An hour later, he slid a document across his desk. It was a petition for guardianship. What is this? I asked. Your children filed a claim saying you're mentally incompetent and need someone to manage your finances, he said quietly. They're asking to be appointed as your guardians. The room spun. They're claiming dementia, he continued. They submitted a doctor's letter. I haven't seen a doctor, not yours, he said. A doctor your son-in-law knows. He's never examined you. I couldn't breathe. Can they do this? Not if we act fast, he said, but we have to fight this hard. And that's when I realized something terrifying. When the money stopped working, they tried to take my freedom. You need an independent psychiatric evaluation, my lawyer told me. A real one, someone the court trusts. I already have a specialist in mind. 3 days later, I sat across from Dr. Elaine Foster, a psychiatrist in her early 50s with calm eyes and a voice that never rushed. She spent nearly 4 hours with me. Memory tests, logic problems, questions about my past, my finances, my daily routines, and my reasoning behind recent decisions. She asked me to explain my choices in detail. Not just what I decided, but why. When we finished, she smiled and closed her folder. Mr. Hale, she said, you are one of the sharpest 62-year-olds I've evaluated. Your memory is strong, your judgment is sound, and your executive functioning is excellent. There is absolutely no sign of cognitive decline. Frankly, the accusation against you is offensive. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. The hearing was set for January 12th. My attorney prepared me carefully. They'll try to provoke you. They'll paint you as emotional and unstable. Stay calm, answer clearly, let the facts do the talking. The courtroom was small and cold. My daughter and son sat together with their attorney, a smooth man in an expensive suit. They didn't look at me. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Alina Brooks, reviewed the paperwork. Counselor, she said to their lawyer, you are petitioning for guardianship based on alleged mental incompetence. Present your case. He stood confidently. Your Honor, my clients are deeply concerned about their father's sudden behavior. He abruptly cut off long-standing financial support without explanation. He has isolated himself socially. He accuses his children of manipulation. A medical professional has expressed concerns about his cognitive state. The judge looked up. This doctor has never met Mr. Hale, is that correct? The lawyer hesitated. He based his opinion on interviews with the children. Hearsay, the judge said flatly. Continue. My attorney stood next. Your Honor, we submit a full psychiatric evaluation conducted last week by Dr. Elaine Foster, board certified, with extensive experience in competency assessments. Her conclusion is unequivocal. My client is fully competent. The judge read silently. Her expression hardened. This petition, she said, appears to be a transparent attempt to seize control of a parent's finances after he stopped giving money. Is there any evidence of incompetence, beyond decisions you dislike? Silence. Let's hear from the petitioners, she said. Miss Hale, Mr. Hale. My daughter stood, hands shaking. How much money was your father giving you monthly? The judge asked. About $1,500. For how long? 5 years. And when he stopped, you filed for guardianship. Well, answer the question. Yes, the judge turned to my son. And you? I was getting $1,000 a month. Worried about his health? The judge asked. Or worried about losing income? No answer. She closed the file. Petition denied. Furthermore, I order the petitioners to reimburse Mr. Hale's legal fees for this frivolous action. The gavel struck. My daughter cried. My son stared at the floor. Their attorney packed his bag without a word. As we walked out, my daughter ran after me. Dad, how could you do this to us? We're your children. I looked at her calmly. No, I said. You're adults who tried to have me declared incompetent to steal my money. That has a name. And it isn't family. I walked away. The next day I finalized my new will and trust, scholarships in my late wife's name, protected education funds for my grandchildren, accessible only when they turned 25 with no parental access. Modest gifts to the relatives who actually showed up in my life. I signed every page without hesitation. The court ordered my children to pay $8,000 in legal fees. They also received a formal warning. Any further harassment would lead to restraining orders and criminal charges. My daughter left sobbing voicemails. I deleted them. My son sent one message accusing me of destroying the family. I deleted that too. The message from my granddaughter nearly broke me, but I understood what was happening. The children were being used as weapons. I didn't let it work. Weeks passed, then months, and something unexpected happened without the constant fear. Without the guilt, without being treated like an open wallet. My life opened up. I slept better. I laughed more. I joined groups. I traveled. I made friends who wanted my company, not my money. I realized something powerful. The day I stopped being useful to them was the day I became free. And if you're listening to this and feeling that knot in your chest, that quiet fear that setting boundaries will cost you love, let me tell you the truth I learned at 62. Love that disappears when the money stops was never love to begin with. I remember the day my friend Paula finally told me everything. We were sitting across from each other at a small cafe, the kind where the cups are chipped and the coffee is too strong. She looked uneasy, like she was carrying news that didn't belong to her but needed to be said anyway. She told me that my daughter Laura was getting divorced. Her husband Chris had filed the papers. He had the kids with him for now. Officially it was joint custody, but the children were living under his roof while the house was being prepared to sell. Laura was renting a small apartment and working 2 jobs just to stay afloat. According to Chris, she'd hidden credit card debt for years. He said she had a serious shopping problem and had been lying about it. Paula lowered her voice when she said the next part. The attempt to have me declared mentally incompetent had been the final straw. That was the moment Chris said he couldn't pretend anymore. I asked about the children carefully, like I was afraid the answer might break me. Paula told me they were okay. Chris, she admitted, was actually a good father when he wasn't enabling Laura's behavior. He'd started taking responsibility, showing up to work consistently, focusing on the kids. He'd even told Paula he was ashamed he hadn't stood up to Laura sooner. I felt a strange mix of emotions, a small, guilty sense of vindication, a deep sadness for how things had turned out, but mostly, I felt relief. Relief that my grandchildren had at least one stable parent looking out for them. My son, Kevin, was not doing as well. His partner had left him after he refused to get help for his gambling addiction. He'd been evicted, lost his apartment, and bounced between friends' couches until even that ran out. My sister Claire later told me he'd shown up at her door asking for money, spinning a dramatic story about a medical emergency. He looked awful, she told me, thin, worn down, desperate. I remembered the hard lesson I'd learned about enabling, so instead of money, I asked her to give him the number for a gambling addiction hotline. When she told me she had, I thanked her. It hurt, but I didn't take it back. In July, a letter arrived in my mailbox. It wasn't from Laura, it wasn't from Kevin, it was from Chris. He wrote that he owed me an apology, that he'd been weak, that he'd allowed himself to be pulled into things he knew were wrong. He said the attempt to take control of my life and finances was shameful, and he regretted not speaking up sooner. He told me he understood if I never forgave him. He said he didn't expect anything. He just wanted me to know that the kids asked about me constantly. He'd explained to them in simple terms that adults sometimes hurt people they love and that there are consequences for that. He said they had made drawings for me and insisted he send them. Inside the envelope were crayon pictures. One showed me holding hands with my granddaughter beneath a bright, crooked rainbow. My grandson had written in uneven letters, "I love Grandpa." I cried longer than I care to admit. After that, I called my lawyer. I asked him if it was possible to see my grandchildren only when their father was present, not my daughter. He said yes. If the custodial parent agreed, it could be arranged legally and properly. 2 weeks later, we met at a park halfway between our homes. I brought a close friend with me for support. The children ran toward me like nothing had ever gone wrong. I held them and breathed in that smell only children seem to have: sunshine and grass and innocence. "We missed you so much," my granddaughter said as she hugged me. "I missed you too," I told her, and I meant it with every part of myself. We spent hours together. I pushed my grandson on the swings. I watched my granddaughter do cartwheels in the grass. Chris kept his distance, giving us space, but I saw the relief on his face when the kids laughed. As we were leaving, my granddaughter whispered, "Can we see you again?" "Yes," I promised. Very soon, on the drive home, my phone buzzed again and again. Missed calls from Laura I didn't answer. I later heard she was furious about the visit and had threatened to take Chris back to court, but he stood firm, and this time. So did I. My life isn't perfect now. I still feel grief for the family I thought I would have, but I also feel peace. I have control over my own life. I have friendships, purpose, and dignity. Most importantly, I have myself back. Looking back, I understand what I really lost wasn't my children. It was my self-respect. I had confused love with sacrifice and generosity with obligation. I had taught my children that my value was measured by what I gave them financially. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. Sometimes protecting yourself means disappointing people who insist they love you. Family isn't just blood, it's respect. If you're listening to this and feeling trapped by your own children's demands, hear me clearly. You are not an ATM, you are not selfish for protecting your future. Love should never require you to destroy yourself. Think about it. What would you have done in my place? Sometimes setting boundaries isn't cruelty. It's survival. Take care of yourselves. You deserve it.